walk through setting up a website from scratch. Now, we're here with my sister, who is setting up her website. So she is going to be our test dummy. And,
Great.
and you're going to walk through everything from, purchasing a domain on, we're going to use GoDaddy this time, but there are other options out there. And we're going to set it up, and any questions she has, she's going to ask along the way. That way we can answer them in real time.
So first we headed to GoDaddy.
All right, so share your screen.
Okay. Okay, I think this was the
Now,
one that was...
One of the things we talked about in our last video was deciding on a domain name and whether or not it should be really SEO friendly or if you creative. And after we talked about that, we discovered, okay, we can be creative in this case. So
Her first pick URL was pretty expensive,
I guess.
I don't know. Maybe you should go with, instead of soul sugar, like your shoe. It's only 99 cents.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. I don't know why I find that so funny.
So the other one I was going to ask you guys actually was this. However, it's taken, but I liked these two also that it suggested.
Soulful Honey.
So
and then the bottom one.
yeah, Soulful Honey Co. So
This is cool. I don't really know what that is.
Co means a company, right? So
Yeah,
usually if you have a co at the end of it, it's usually inferring that like maybe Soul Honey is a place where they make honey. I don't know, and it's the company, right?
Right.
Well, so let's talk about domains, right? Real quick. I know we talked about this in the last video, but so there's pros and cons of having a domain that is something like Soul Honey, right? Or Soulful Honey, and then something like if you made it more direct to what someone would search for. Now we talk about things like, I think we talked about Etsy was an example. Like, what's Etsy? It doesn't really mean anything, but you could make it mean something if enough people come to it. So you could really name a site anything you want, as long as it's dedicated. If you're really looking at driving people there in, just on the URL alone, it is always better to have some of those things in there. But so we're going to call the site Soul Honey or Soulful Honey right now, right? So what's the concept of it? What do you want to do with it?
So honestly, it's kind of like a rough idea. I think I come across a lot of blogs that have names that are not necessarily indicative of what it's about, but so you wouldn't really know. And even like the same with like Instagram names, and then they end up being blogs or they're blogs first, whatever, and you wouldn't know. But it's really supposed to be like based on like writing and trends. So like, for instance, like almost like a mix between like a blog that has like trends for like music, clothes, whatever, but also like writing, kind of like if that and Thought Catalog like combined.
Gotcha.
Half and half. Does that make sense?
So now you mentioned Instagram, right? Can you, if you want to coordinate those things, right? Because some people do this. Is it something you could even get the Instagram handle for, right? So Soulful Honey, what's interesting is, can you register that as an account? Yeah. So because if you do want to coordinate that, I would line up all those pieces first. Do you see what I'm saying? Because that may actually help you with some decision making on it. Because I think Soulful Honey is a good name for a blog, right? It's as good as anything else out there, right? Because you're not really focusing on like a very distinct keyword set, because you're building it for stuff you like, right? So you're building that blog as sort of like a personal brand. So I think it's fine to use something like Soulful Honey. What I would do is I would coordinate though. That the reason why I brought it up is because you mentioned that a lot of Twitter handles becoming sites, right? We see that very common. We actually work with a lot of influencers that then go and build things off their brands, that account. So, if you want to coordinate it and do it that way, I would say do a little bit of research is my point. I don't think it's necessary, but I think you should, do your research. So if we want to go with Soulful Honey, I think if you get Soulful Honey _, or Soulful _honey on Instagram, I think that would work also.
It's similar enough, right?
Yeah, similar enough. So what do you like better, Soulful Honey or your $5,000 option?
I think I like Soulful Honey, and it's also 99 cents, so I like it even more. And then there was a lot of like dashes they would suggest, which obviously is not what I want to do. And then honey sunrise. I feel like I did this before and there was
Yeah,
something
usually
else.
it usually gives as a suggestion. Usually we'll reverse them, but
Honey sunrise. Yeah, they kept suggesting like an S at the end of things. So like
yeah, they'll do
one
that.
thing was they made it plural, but then it didn't sound as good really.
Right.
No.
One of the things you can do too, I think a good pointer is sometimes you do get, they add an S to it. And sometimes it's always good to go and check what's actually on those other sites without the S to see if it is a big site. Right. Because sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. There's a lot of people who mimic other sites. I know even with some of our sites, there are people who have tried to sort of follow some of the stuff we're doing, like, with variations of the names, but it is what it is. You gotta make it what you want and your site what you want. So I would say go with the one that feels with a URL like this, go with the one that feels right for you.
So now it's time to register.
Honey.
Okay.
Let's
register that bad boy.
All right. So add to cart.
Add it to your cart.
Right.
Now what you're going to do is the register. So basically when you go through registration, right, you can register a domain for 1 year, 2 years. You could do usually domain privacy, things like that. So if you click down where it says 2 years, they always recommend 2 years. But if you click that down, you'll see you can do it for 1 year if you want to sort of experiment. So you don't have to pay all that money up front if you're doing it on a budget. You would just have to renew it every year. They offer auto renews, so you could do that. It looks like you have other stuff in your cart, like.
Yeah, I think I was like playing around with other stuff for a while.
Yeah, so you may want to.
Website builder. Okay.
Oh, you need the website builder in there.
The website builder.
Okay. So when I go to the cart, will it come back up?
Okay, so let's just go through. If you can scroll back up. So you do want full. Do you see where it says? So okay, so you obviously want to create an email address. So you want domain privacy on, because if you don't have domain privacy on, which if right there.
This one.
Yep. Because why you want domain privacy on is basically what happens is if you don't, when you register that, people will actually see your address and your contact information as the registrar, because all these, anytime you register a domain, it goes through what's called ICANN, which is like the International Association for all the domains. And you're required to update that on like some periodic basis. I think it's every year or every 2 years. But what happens is this actually uses the GoDaddy information if someone wants to reach out versus using your personal information. And the reason why you want to do that is you want to protect your personal information, such as like your street address and your phone number and things like that. Otherwise, it becomes public information.
Okay, makes sense. So full domain privacy.
Right.
Okay.
So we're going to start. We're going to leave checked off. Start your website for free.
Yep.
Now, with GoDaddy, you have to pay for email addresses. So you may just want to grab the first one if you're going to have an email address. I'm assuming there.
Okay.
Okay.
And what is that used for?
So you would have like Amber at Soulful of Honey or Soulful Honey, sorry. You would have Amber at Soulful Honey. So if anyone was going to email you, or if you were going to have a contact on the site, or if you were going to create forms or set up your social media, you could actually use that correct as the email address.
And then okay, got it. Right. Okay. So continue to cart.
Yes, ma'am. So as you see, it's not really 99 cents to start a site. It costs you a little more when you start doing your domain registration, your privacy. And I definitely recommend doing privacy. Now, if you scroll back up, Amber, for a second. So you'll see here, Soulful of Honey, it has it at 2 years again for some reason. If you want to drop it down to 1, you could drop it down to 1, and that price should reduce.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your 99 cents, right? That's how you're getting your 99 cents domain registration. You have your domain privacy, which is for 1 year, and then you're doing your email. If you want to do it, if you click that, you may be able to do it month by month if you want to save money. So 1 month.
Like 1 month at a time too.
Right, so they would charge you whatever that price is divided out by a month. So if you click on 1 month, you'll see that price change. So now it's $5.99 a month. I mean, it makes sense economically if you can afford it to do the 12 months, because like you're paying $6 a month. Versus if you did 12 months, it would only be $23 for the year. Okay. And now what we're going to do is, now that we got everything set up, we're going to go check out.
Okay. And it has the website builder here.
Yep.
Okay.
And now you're going to be required to create an account. I definitely would create an account here. I would not use your Facebook. Now, please. Okay, they're asking dedicated IP address. That's okay. You don't really, you need to add in, see where it says dedicated IP address? You need to add that because you can't do a SSL certificate without it, it looks like, which is a secure link. So add that in. That's what I don't like about GoDaddy. You got to pay for it, like every little thing.
Yeah, it starts off as one thing.
It's not the same thing through Vario?
No, it's like an SSL is added to it automatically. Like for instance, like it's costing her, if you could scroll down, I just want to see your pricing is $35. For us to register a domain and security is $19. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so it only cost, like for us to do this, it only costs $19.
Right.
So
it's
no, it's okay. It's okay. It's just the way it is. It's just the difference in the system. GoDaddy's a lot more stable. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I was wondering what the difference is, like why it would be.
Okay. So now before we start building a site, let's talk about that question, the difference in.
And just X out that box. Okay.
Okay. So
why did we go with GoDaddy versus another?
Right. So with GoDaddy, we had to add things in, such as like the FTP, the SSL certificates, things like that. Now, you know, and some other services actually offer those things as part of the package already. There's pros and cons, right? Usually the ones that offer those things are a little more, or more for people who have a little more technical expertise. GoDaddy is very much designed for anyone to basically go and build a website. So it's pretty, they guide you through the process a lot easier. Like for instance, you know, our host for most of our sites is Vario, and it would never go, okay, now it's time to set up, as we're seeing here, now it's time to set up your email address. So it would never give us something like that where it would guide us through it. We would basically have to go in and add in our email. You know, we would have to add those separate email addresses at a different point in the process.
So GoDaddy's more expensive because it's a little bit more user friendly to people like me who really don't know how.
Yes and no. You know, yes and no. I think the tools are easier, so you know it is a little more expensive, but they're, you know, you're with GoDaddy, you're almost completing piece by piece, right? You're buying all these separate pieces that equal what's going to create your whole system, meaning your email address, your FTP, if you're going to use an FTP, your SSL certificates. So they're all sort of add-ons, where in some other services it's all part of one, but this is you know, usually much easier for people.
Okay.
So yes, to answer your question, you're paying for the convenience in many ways. Although I'm sure we'll get some hate mail on that because some people think GoDaddy is like, you know, the best thing in the world, but you know, there are other options out there. So, if now you would just decide what your email address is, and we'll add that in.
So typically people just do their name at whatever it is.
Yeah, usually the people do you would do like Amber at, or you could do amber.amino or whatever the case is. You could create that how you want. If you're going to be the only person, which I'm assuming, you don't need to put your last name in there.
Yeah. Okay. And then
you're going to create a password at this point for your email address. So you created your email address. Now it's going to go through the process of actually creating a Microsoft 365 account for you.
Okay.
Now, how does she access this email address?
So you could do it. You could add it to your Outlook. You could add it to your iPhone, which most people are going to do. So you created your username. You created your password. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull up your iPhone. You're going to go into your settings, add a new account to your iPhone, and then it will add that new email account to mail on your iPhone.
Oh, here, look, you can simply scan the QR code.
Okay, there you go.
all it did though was pop up the Outlook app in the App Store though. So I don't really know how.
And now it's time to create a website.
All right, here we are.
Okay.
So click on this. Right?
This?
Hold on. Scroll back up. Yeah. Okay. Set up your website. What does that do right there up top? Okay, domains. Wait. Like we just got lagged.
Set up.
New website.
Yeah, I think set up website free trial with the builder.
I would guess.
I guess it's the same thing. Yeah.
Now, when you come into the website builder, you can design and manipulate and play with this website as much as you want without it going live. So not until you hit publish your site, see how it said not published initially under there? You don't have to worry about any like changes, this, I don't like that. You can play with it as much as you want until you're ready.
Until you can publish the whole thing all together.
Well, as far as you want to go, like as far as, you know, you want to go until obviously you're going to keep publishing posts and stuff, but and change it as time goes on. But your initial like blog, once you're done with your setup and you got all the images you want and the categories you want, then you can go live. All right. So you're going to choose a category. I'm thinking you're probably going with a blog here.
Next. What should we call your site?
I would call it Soulful Honey.
So at this point, Brent, as far as setting up the site, I mean, everything from a technical standpoint is done, correct? Now it's a matter of deciding.
Correct. And so this is one of the benefits of using something like GoDaddy. You don't have to worry about DNS. You don't have to worry about name servers. You don't have to worry about, you know, pointers, things like that. It automatically does it. And now it's just a matter of you going in, choosing a template you like, you know, and starting with that.
So what I want to do is just, I would like to just pick, you don't have to make it your final, but let's pick one to play with.
Try one out. Okay. So I'll just click any of them. Try this one.
Okay, so you hit the publish button up at the top. That's what's going to eventually push your site live to the internet. Until you hit publish, it will never be live, but you will be able to preview it with the preview button. So you'll see what it actually looks like. So from this point, what you're going to do, and you'll see on the right-hand side, play with the layout, right? You can play with your colors. So you can, you know, decide on the color of your, you know, whatever this brand is. So, you know, for us, we black and white. And so whatever you feel like.
Right. This one's perfect if you like Girl Scout cookies and.
Yeah.
And your title is going to be, so that's the section under here. You know, you can see what corresponds on the right-hand side. It says title. You see welcome here. You can
if you modify that and you wrote welcome to Soulful Honey, you know, you would add it to that.
Right. Quote, you know, or something, whatever you know feels right. You can change the update. You can change that image on top. It doesn't have to be a video. It could be a static image. So that button.
And that would be up here.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you get rid of this contact me. Let's say instead it's like, you know, read the blog or, you know, whatever you want that to be. And as you you can change that to be whatever you want. That way, you know, maybe that's more fitting. You can have a little about the company or the blog under, you know, in that white section. And right here, it's pretty, you know, user-friendly, like we talked about. This is, you know, start writing, and it will take you to your blog section where you can start posting blogs.
And I could like take some of these, like let's say for instance, I didn't want these pictures here or whatever. I could always have edited that section out.
So click on those three dots right there, and that will give you the settings for this site. So you can delete the whole section. You could do like it. You could do the mailing list. At the bottom, you can connect the social channels once you have them. So if you want to hide that until they're set up or whatever you want to do there.
Now, so when you click the plus, if you click the plus that keeps popping in and out, you could add additional sections into there. So if you don't, if you want to add other sections, And they do have these pre-developed sections. Like for instance, you're seeing the subscribe, you're seeing various different things, like here's an appointment calendar. So there are various different things you could add in. So if the layout isn't exactly what you want, but you like the design, you could actually change the format of these pages by adding different, what we call components, into each of the sections.
Oh yeah, there's all different.
Now, the last thing I really wanted to talk about when it comes to setting up the site are the categories and your navigation. So scroll up to the top of this preview for a second once you X out of that. Okay, so see the home and the about?
Yep.
All right, so this is your navigation. So what you'll want to do here, and you see it on the right-hand side on this page.
Oops, we realized the domain wasn't connected.
Wait, hold on. Does she need to connect her domain? Do you see where it says connect domain up at the very top? Can you click on that? Okay. So one of the other things you need to do is you need to connect your domain. So Amber, if you could click on connect your domain and go to select a plan.
And you're probably thinking, wait, I already did this.
Yeah, I thought I did that already. But
right, which they were giving you the free domain builder, right? Up until then. So we see here now with our basic, now remember too, we selected the SSL because we thought it was separate, right? Now we see here, it's the security certificate. So that's what, that way you could have, do you know when websites have .http versus HTTPS and you see the little lock on there to know they're secure? That little lock is basically telling you it has a security certificate. So what we want to do is we want to scroll down a little bit so we can see the difference in the plan. So your current plan that you're going to default to is that standard. Let's see what the difference is between the standard. So it's some SEO stuff. That is basically the biggest difference in terms of that. Let's keep growing down. Okay, so it's things like alerts, text for appointments, things like that. So now I would say you're pretty safe with either going with the first or second plan.
And we're doing this on the monthly basis just to try it.
Well, yeah, yes.
And after all is said and done, I would go back into your account settings and cancel the $5.99 one because once this picks up next month, you're already going to have it built in.
Right, you already have the security certificate. So complete the purchase.
And we are oh, okay, 12 months. It's already $0.
So now click on use my domain. And now
I already own a domain.
Yes. And hopefully it will give us your domain. Soulful Honey. There we go. So hit save.
Okay. Save and publish or just save?
Save and probably just save.
If we hit save and publish your site.
Because now you should see up in that URL bar up top, do you see how it changed it from soulfulhoney.godaddy? Right now your domain is, so someone would have had to type in previously soulfulhoney.godaddy.com. Now they just have to type in soulfulhoney.com and they'll get to your site, which is what you want. So basically what we did, you know how we spoke about DNS and name servers and things like that? Basically, we just connected your domain to this actual server to make sure when users put it in, it rectifies the URL to the correct server. But basically, GoDaddy did that in the background. You just had to connect the pieces. Okay, so click on the pages.
Yeah.
So
manage pages.
Manage pages. Yep. So I think if you add a page, right now you're looking at what gets stacked in. So you would have to add a page. So to manage your navigation, you have to add a page in there.
I'll add here.
So say for instance, you wanted to create a page on about, or is there already about page, but subscribe to my newsletter, right? So subscribe.
Or, you know, whatever, quotes, right?
So this is when I put different, not headers, but like the different aspects of the site for people to click on.
Right.
Yeah, this absolutely. Is where I would do that.
Right. So say for instance, what were some of the things you want to have on the site?
Like, let's say one part would be like more like writing and articles and things like that. And then like another part would, let's say, be like trends or photos or whatever. So I would put the separate categories here, right?
Right. So you would, let's just start with trends. So maybe we're going to put trends there, right, as your page title.
Okay. And then I would say,
Just stay right here. So see where it says drop down menu? So
Yeah.
let's say, for example, click that for 1 second.
okay. And then I would type it in here.
So let's say you planned on having like blue trends, green trends, orange trends, fall trends, and you wanted to really separate out your trends. What you would do is you would title that trends, and then you would create more pages and select them as drop-down pages. So they would fall underneath that category, that high-level category. They wouldn't all be displayed out at the top of the page.
So for instance, yeah, so let's start with creating the new page, right? So create the new page of trends.
So new page.
Right. So you would need to create your new page and call it blue trends for now, right?
What do you want me to write?
Just you call it anything you want, a type of trends, right?
Okay.
So you
We'll
can
just
say
do whatever you guys are saying.
blue trends,
Okay.
right? Okay. So create that page. Now we can delete those at any time.
Right.
Now,
okay.
okay. Now what we would do is go back to where we're creating. So add pages in navigation up top. Yeah, it's okay that the page is empty for right now. So we would go here, click on drop down menu. So now we could create trends would be the title of the menu title. And now we would click blue trends. So if you click that and then hit save, create menu. So basically what should happen is you should be adding that into your site. So if you see there where it says trends up top with the little arrow on the left in the preview pane.
Oh, here.
So now do you see how it added it to your menu? Now, if you click that, there's your page on blue trends. So if you click that page, you would go directly to that page itself, and that would be your page on blue trends. So that's where you would put all your articles or all your blog posts on blue trends. So
Okay.
as you went and you tagged it, you would create that section.
So at this point, we're gonna leave you with all the creative fun, and you're going to be able to add your sections, your images, and keep playing with it until you get it where you want it. And you can keep previewing it along the way. And when you feel it's ready to go, even before you publish a piece of content, you can, publish it and then start adding as you'd like.
Thanks. This is actually very easy to use.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you very much. Is there anything else I need to know about creating, or is that all?
Well, I think the main thing is you need to create your pages and your post, right? And then basically create your menu. You need to organize it. And then once you're done or you feel like you're ready to show it to the world, you need to hit, as Nicolette mentioned, you need to hit that publish button up top.
Okay. And I can preview first to make sure that everything looks the way I want it to.
Thanks.